This video was made possible by our fans. Join them today at our website. Linguistic warfare rages across our airwaves and digital domains, a battle for minds and hearts fought with words instead of swords. The media wields language not merely as a means of communication, but as a malleable instrument to sculpt public opinion and steer collective action. But what are the tactics of this linguistic warfare? How does media language influence public opinion? To answer this question, let's dive deep into the science of language and persuasion. But first, if you're not already part of our community, consider joining us. Your support allows us to keep producing videos like this one. As we delve into this topic, two critical questions arise. Why should we care about media language, and how can we better understand its impact on our perceptions? Our relationship with language goes beyond mere communication. Language is the scaffolding of thought, the very architecture of our understanding. As philosopher Ludwig Wittgenstein noted, "The limits of my language are the limits of my world." This highlights the profound influence language exerts over our worldview, shaping what we perceive, how we think, and ultimately, how we act. In the context of a socio-political landscape, media language holds particular significance. Media outlets, through their choice of words and narrative framing, have the power to shape public opinion, sway electoral choices, and even influence policy decisions. Their language doesn't just inform, it often persuades, sometimes subtly, sometimes not so subtly. To comprehend the tactics of this linguistic warfare, let's turn to some key concepts from critical discourse analysis, or CDA. One pivotal concept from CDA is framing, which refers to the manner in which media selectively emphasizes certain aspects of an issue while downplaying others. This framing often serves to highlight specific aspects of a story or event to support a particular narrative or perspective. For example, referring to protesters as rioters or thugs frames them in a negative light, potentially eliciting a harsher judgment from the audience compared to using more neutral terms like demonstrators or protesters. This seemingly small linguistic shift can significantly alter the audience's perception of the situation. Media organizations deploy various strategies to achieve this framing effect. One such strategy is the use of loaded language. Take the term illegal immigrant. Calling someone an illegal immigrant carries a different weight and evokes a different response than referring to them as a migrant without documentation or undocumented worker. Words like illegal are judgmental, carrying with them a moral implication that goes beyond the literal definition. Such loaded language can evoke strong emotions, bypassing rational thought processes and steering public opinion in a specific direction. Another powerful tool at the media's disposal is the construction of metaphors. By comparing one thing to another, metaphors can evoke strong emotional responses. For instance, describing immigration as a flood or tide creates a sense of overwhelmingness and potential danger in the minds of the audience. Similarly, framing economic policies as war or battle evokes images of conflict and struggle. These metaphorical representations activate pre-existing emotional responses and associations, effectively manipulating how the audience perceives the issues being discussed. Closely related to framing is agenda setting. This refers to the media's ability to influence the prominence of certain issues in the minds of the public. By giving repeated and prominent coverage to specific topics, media outlets can elevate their perceived importance. For example, consistent media coverage of climate change, whether through news reports or documentaries, can lead to climate change becoming a top priority for many people. It places the issue on the agenda of the mind, prompting individuals to think about it more often and consider its implications. In conjunction with agenda setting is priming. Priming refers to the process of linking specific attributes or criteria to an issue in the minds of the audience. By doing so, the media influences how individuals evaluate political figures or policies. For instance, if the media consistently links immigration with economic strain and job losses, it primes the audience to perceive immigrants as a burden rather than a contributing factor to the economy. Consequently, when making decisions about immigration policies or voting for political candidates, individuals may heavily weigh the economic impact based on the framing they've been exposed to. The media's arsenal of persuasive tools extends to the realm of linguistic modality. Modality in linguistics refers to the speaker's attitude or stance toward the truth of a statement. When the media uses epistemic modality, for example, experts warn that global temperatures will continue to rise. It signals uncertainty about the future. Such statements place the burden of proof on an unspecified authority, constructing a sense of legitimacy and objectivity. Conversely, deontic modality, as seen in "The public must act now to save the planet," imposes a moral obligation on the audience. Using imperative language creates a sense of urgency and compels immediate action. However, the media's deployment of modality doesn't always serve to establish authority or urgency. The passive voice, as in "mistakes were made," avoids assigning blame or responsibility, allowing powerful entities to evade accountability. Similarly, the use of agentless constructions like "the damage was extensive" obscures the source of the damage, further hindering the pursuit of responsibility. On the other hand, the active voice, as in "the corporation caused the oil spill," clearly identifies the responsible party, leaving no room for ambiguity or evasion. While framing, agenda setting, priming, and modality are influential tools, the media also leverages the potent force of emotion in shaping public opinion. Arousal of emotions, particularly fear, is a common tactic used to galvanize attention and drive action. Take, for instance, the emotive language used in discussions about crime. Terms like epidemic of violence or wave of crime are designed to evoke fear and alarm among the populace. By employing such charged language, the media can tap into primal emotions, often bypassing rational thought processes. One way the media magnifies emotions to sway public opinion is through the construction of moral panic. Scapegoating, a tactic frequently employed to deflect blame or prejudice, is central to this process. By exaggerating the threat posed by a marginalized group, the media can amplify anxieties and shape public perception. For example, persistent media narratives about undocumented immigrants being a threat to national security can incite fear and prejudice. This, in turn, can lead to the public supporting stricter immigration policies or even more severe measures, all under the guise of protecting societal well-being. The influence of media language on public opinion is deeply ingrained in the way our brains process information. Neuroimaging studies using functional magnetic resonance imaging, fMRI, reveal that emotionally charged language activates regions of the brain associated with emotional processing, such as the amygdala. This suggests that emotionally laden terms bypass rational scrutiny and exert a direct influence on our decision-making processes. To further comprehend the underlying mechanisms, we can delve into the realm of cognitive linguistics. Central to cognitive linguistics is the concept of conceptual metaphor. Our understanding of abstract ideas is often linked to more concrete sensory experiences. For instance, the conceptual metaphor, "life is a journey," maps the abstract idea of life onto the more tangible experience of a journey. This metaphorical mapping can be manipulated by the media to evoke specific emotional and intellectual responses. When the media frames immigration as a flood, it taps into our intuitive understanding of floods as overwhelming and uncontrollable, thereby instilling a sense of fear or anxiety. Another significant concept from cognitive linguistics is that of semantic prosody. Words acquire evaluative auras or emotional coloring based on their habitual collocations. For example, the word radical often collocates with terrorism or extremism. This consistent association imbues the word radical with a negative connotation. Consequently, when encountering the term radical reform, one might associate the word reform with its collocational partner, radical, thereby perceiving reform as inherently extreme or unsettling. To illustrate the intricate interplay between language, cognition, and persuasion, let's examine a real-world case study. The COVID-19 pandemic witnessed a myriad of framings employed by media outlets. Consider two contrasting framings. The first, which dominated much of the early pandemic coverage, employed a war metaphor. The virus was an enemy, and healthcare workers were frontline heroes battling an invisible enemy. This framing evoked a sense of unity, sacrifice, and courage in the face of adversity. In contrast, another framing, more prevalent in certain segments of the media, emphasized the economic impacts of the pandemic. Statements like "lockdowns cripple small businesses" shifted the focus from public health to financial losses. This economic framing likely resonated with individuals who were experiencing the closure of their favorite restaurants or the loss of their jobs. Different framings activated distinct public attitudes, from compliance with lockdown measures to support for reopening or even anti-lockdown protests. As we conclude this exploration into media language and its influence, several critical questions arise. How can we, as individuals, better protect ourselves against subtle linguistic manipulations? And what ethical boundaries should be established to ensure that the power of language isn't misused? Recognizing the pervasiveness of framing effects and other linguistic influences is the first step toward media literacy. Understanding the tactics of agenda setting, priming, and emotional appeals equips us to critically analyze the information we consume. By recognizing loaded language, questioning the motivations behind specific word choices, and being aware of our own emotional biases, we can start to see beyond the surface of media messages. It's important to note that while media entities wield significant power through language, citizens also have agency. By encouraging critical media literacy, promoting balanced and diverse media consumption, and fostering a culture of respectful dialogue, we can mitigate the potential for linguistic manipulation. The responsibility lies with both the media and the audience. The media has an ethical duty to use language responsibly and transparently, while citizens must be equipped with the tools to critically analyze and navigate the linguistic landscape. This video was made possible by our fans. If you'd like to support us, you can join them today at our website. Your support allows us to keep producing engaging and informative content on important topics like this one. Additionally, you'll gain access to exclusive perks such as early access to videos, blooper reels, and more. Consider joining our community today and let us know what topics you'd like us to cover in the future. A good headline can actually sell you things which you didn't even know you wanted to buy. So I was reading this book called The Art of Science of Headlines, and I thought that maybe I should share some of these tricks with you because I think it's important for us to understand how the media works. Because most of the time when we read something or watch something, we just take it at face value. But there is a lot of science behind creating any kind of content, especially headlines. So here's another one. Discover the secrets of a happy marriage. Strong verb, discover. What is the benefit? You will discover the secrets. Who is the audience? It's addressing you, the reader. And there's also specificity. You are discovering something specific, which is the secrets of a happy marriage. So basically, if you want to write good headlines, you have to keep these 4 things in mind. Now, while writing headlines, journalists follow a 6-step formula. Immediately, my curiosity was activated. I wanted to know more.